Okay, so let's get into something more or a higher level. Let's talk about pay plans. This is also very common. Somebody is looking to hire a shop manager, or they're trying to promote a service advisor into a management role. How do you advise your clients on payment plans? How do they structure it? Is it a percentage of gross profit? Is it a percentage of sales? Is it commission based? Is it hybrid? How do you typically advise your clients on that?
Okay, so the first thing we got to be careful about is I see shop owners burnt out, frustrated, tired, and they want some relief. So what they do is they hire a manager or they promote a manager. And the problem is the business doesn't have the financial capacity to handle that new position. Okay, so you want, number one, make sure you can afford it, because otherwise that freedom that you're getting as an owner, you're paying for that out of the profit you already have or don't have. And
Yeah.
it can put you in a hole pretty quickly. The second thing is, if you're going to put somebody anywhere in the company, and Lucas has gone through this, every client, I mean, I can remember talking to Eric about he wanted to hire a porter. And I said to him, how does the porter make you money? And he had to monetize what that porter was going to do and how it was going to make him additional revenue, because nobody should be an expense to your business. Everybody should contribute to where you want that company to go. So you've got to understand where you want it to go. You've got to understand how they help you get there. And then you've got to understand what they're in control of. Now, with advisors, I bonus them on gross profit because that is something they are in direct control of. If I had a manager, they would be in charge. I might bonus a manager. I might give them a salary of some type, and then I would bonus them on gross profit, production in the shop, and net profit, because he's in control of all three of those things. Right? I want to put their eyes, right? The goal is to, you got to understand that it's your, when you're coming up with a compensation plan, it's the goal of that plan is to make your goals their goals. Okay.
So, what do you have a target percentage? I remember Aaron Stokes saying that you shouldn't even be considering a manager until you hit $100,000 in gross revenue every single month, because anything less than that, you as the owner, you should be within the business. You should be working as the manager or whatever. You should be active within the shop. Once you hit that threshold, you want to hire a manager. You can hire a manager. You'll have the gross revenue to do it. So let's say we're at 100,000 or plus, whatever. What percentage do you target? A certain percentage, or does it depend on the area? What kind of parameters do you look for?
For me, it's not so much a sales number as much as it is, number one, a profit number. Because here's the thing, let's say I'm doing $100,000 a month in sales, but I got a 5% net. So what's the manager going to cost me, David? Just give me a roundabout, do you think?
Probably 7 to 8%.
Well, so that would be $7,000 to $8,000 a month.
Yeah.
And I have $5,000 profit. Do we see a problem?
Yeah.
So for me, it's not so much a sales number as much as it is, number one, a profit number. Can we afford this? And then the second thing is, and again, I'm going back to my questions, is how does he make us more money? What does this person do that gets us more revenue? How do they help us grow? Because if you don't have that in place, you're going to be filling your shop with bodies, and they're literally going to be bouncing into each other, not knowing what the hell they're supposed to be doing or watching or paying attention to. And your friction goes up in the shop, your frustrations go up in the shop, profits go down in the shop. And just like we all think it's more cars, very, very rarely is it more people. A lot of times, I really like running shops lean. I don't like a lot of support people. I have shops that have 4 support to 2 techs, and it scares the crap out of me.
How do you manage 4 support to 2 techs?
You don't. That's the problem. But getting them to see
the production, like, that doesn't make any sense. So why?
Oh, it takes us 4 people to get the production. It doesn't make any sense, right? but you got to understand that to everybody, it makes sense. To somebody, it makes sense.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah,
have the story
absolutely.
we're telling ourselves. But if you get down to the numbers and you say, okay, let's say your labor rate's $100, you're paying the tech 20. So that gives us $80 an hour. Now let's just assume the guy's doing 10 hours a day. So that's $800 a day in profit. Now I got to pay a manager, 2 advisors, and myself out of that $800 every day. It doesn't take
Profits
long before
disappear
that.
quick.
Oh man, it doesn't take long for all of a sudden it's like, oh man, it's getting tight in here. So we've
Yeah.
got to be really, really careful about that. I wouldn't just go hiring people. A lot of times when we're doing that, it's an emotional decision. My wife's mad at me. I'm going to get somebody to help me out. I'm at the shop too much. I'm going to get somebody to help me out. I can't take it anymore. I got to get somebody to help me out. You got to understand that when we are associated to the problem that we're looking at, we're very binary in our thinking. I have this solution or this solution, and that's it. I had a shop owner call me up one day and he says, I either got to sell the place or get a partner. And I went, excuse me? You know? So now we started talking, and I'm like, well, what about this? 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 And he's like, I never saw those things.
Right.
Because when we're associated to the
Zoomed
problem,
in.
Yeah.
all we see is one or two solutions. Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. If you have only one option, you're in trouble. If you have two options, it's a problem. It's not until you have three options that you actually have a choice. So that's really important to understand. So for me, a manager, I want to make sure we're profitable enough to handle him, right? Because even if he's going to add business, he's going to get us more, maybe he's going to start going out and be an outside salesman part of the time. Okay, great. Let's put some sales goals together for him. And if he can hit these goals, then he's worthwhile there. So we've got to have some idea of what he's going to do, how he is going to contribute to the overall growth and profitability of the business. But we got to make sure, number one, you're profitable enough to carry them until you can get that growth. And the second thing is you got to know how they're going to add to it. Otherwise, it's a vampire. They're just going to suck the blood out of the business.